Today we are going to discuss about some of the MCQs based on the topic, the cropping pattern, which is comes under the topic, the main topic, agronomy. Okay. The first is the shifting cultivation is also known as. The options are land rotation, zoom cultivations, slash and burning farming. Fourth one is all of the above. The answer is D, that is shifting cultivation, is also known as, we can call them as land rotation also, zoom cultivation also, slash and burn farming, etc. Depending upon the area in which we are, some of the people are following. Okay, it is not major type of an cultivation practice in all over the world, but it is restricted to some part of an India. Okay, therefore shifting cultivation is a mode of farming a long followed in an humid tropics of sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia, South America. In practice of slash and burn, farmers would cut the native vegetation and burn it. Then they plant the crops in this exposed and ash fertilizer soil for 2 to 3 seasons in succession. That means we have to be cut down all the plants in an area, to burn it, the forest area, and then you have to take up the agricultural activities and change the place. That's it. Okay, it's called as a shifting cultivation. The next is the shifting cultivation is largely practiced in the region often in the region of, that is, the options are northwestern regions and northeastern region, southern western region and southeastern region. Okay, the answer is B, that is the extent of an, it is a northern eastern region, right? That is okay, let me draw the diagram of India. Okay, sorry. Okay, okay, this is a northern eastern region, right? This is a major region for your shifting cultivation. Okay, this is a major region for your shifting cultivation. The extent of an area under the shifting cultivation is maximum, that is again in the Nagaland, followed by Mizoram and Manipur. Okay, make a list. Okay, this is a way which state having the maximum area under shifting cultivations and all. Okay, these states together account for about 65% of the total area under the shifting cultivation in the northern eastern region. Third one is the cultivation of a two or more than two crops simultaneously on the same land without definite row pattern or fixed ratio is known as, right? The answer is D, that is mixed cropping. Okay, what is called a mixed cropping? That means without maintaining, okay, without maintaining a definite row pattern, there will be simultaneously we will grow, right? That is called as a mixed cropping. And mixed farming is different. Don't confuse the words with mixed farming and mixed cropping. Okay, like for example in this plot and some without 3 lines of some pulse. Okay, and again 2 lines of some bush type of crops like your bush type of tomatoes and all, and another 6 lines of your sugarcane, something like different types of the crops will be grown in the same piece of land, is without definite row, is called as mixed cropping. Okay, in agriculture, the multiple cropping or multi-cropping in mixed cropping is a practice of growing two or more crops in the same piece of land during one growing season instead of just one crop. Okay, this is also known as an intercropping, we can call, but it's type of an intercropping, but it will be not in definite row. The row fashion, that is important. Cultivation of such crops which have a different natural habit and zero competition is called as, okay, this is the next question. The answer is C, that is the parallel cropping. Okay, that is uh, the natural habit of this row of plant and habit of this plant is entirely different, and having the zero competition at all. Okay, they do not have any antagonistic or synergetic, that is a beneficial or disadvantage activity. Okay, is called as your parallel cropping. Parallel cropping is an agricultural method by which two crops are grown together in the same land in parallel rows. Both crops grown do not compete for nutrients and have no effect on each other. They can express their maximum yield potential. They sown in the same growing season is called as the parallel cropping. The next question is, the cropping intensity of the monocropping is always B. Answer is A, that is 100%. Okay, let me give the definition of what is cropping intensity is, right? The cropping intensity is a fraction of the arable area that is harvested. The cropping intensity may exceed 100% when more than one crop is harvested in each season. The cropping intensity is nothing but in 1 year, the land area consists of how many crops, right? How many crops we are taking up in one piece of land or 1 year is called as cropping intensity. Monocropping means we are taking up in only one type of the crop growing is called as a cropping pattern. Sorry, it's called as a cropping intensity. Next question. Growing two or more crops simultaneously on the same piece of land with a definite row arrangement or a fixed ratio is called as. Okay, the answer is intercropping. Then is the word here, the simultaneously is important. On the same piece of land with a definite row arrangement or in a fixed pattern is called as your intercropping. Therefore, intercropping is a practice of growing two or more crops in proximity. The most common goal of intercropping is to produce a greater yield on a given piece of land by making use of resources that could otherwise not be utilized by a single crop is called as your intercropping. Next question is, in which type of an intercropping one crop is a main crop and another crop is an intercrop? Okay, this is the concept it is already came in last year examination, which is called a main crop and which is a trap crop of the following is. Okay, and the answer will be your A, that is your additive series of intercropping. Okay, what is an additive series? Which is already a present. Okay, we will add in another plant here. Okay, if it is an another, then we again add it and so on is called your additive series. What is the replacement series? By removing this line we are adding another line. Okay, by removing is called as your additive series of intercropping. Okay, therefore in the system the main crop is sown with the 100% of its recommended population in a pure stand, which is known as a base crop or called a main crop, and another crop known as your intercrop or is called a component crop is introduced into base crop by adjusting or changing the crop geometry is nothing but your additive series. Okay, the Indian Institute of Sugarcane Research is located at, the answer is your Lucknow. Okay, next is an IVR, that is Indian Institute of Veterinary Research Center, that is present in Varanasi. Next is, in which type of an intercropping where production of an both intercrop is equal to that of a solid planting? Okay, the answer will be your companion cropping. What is a companion cropping? The name itself indicates the growing of in a one row should always companion with that of an another row beside row, right? In which type of an cropping, that is where production of the both intercrop is equal to that of solid planting. Okay, that means if we grow these type of the crops in a pure stand and also these type of the crops in a pure stand, it will be very much equal. Okay, when they are growing the together is nothing but your companion cropping. There should not be any one that is not competitive in another crop, or it will be increases another crop, it will be equal is called as your companion crop. The companion planting in gardening and agriculture is a planting of different crops in proximity for any of the number of different reasons, including pest control, pollination, providing habitat for beneficial insects, maximizing use of space, and to otherwise increase the crop productivity. The quantity of an input in commercial farming and sustainable agriculture respectively. Okay, the answer will be B. What is our definition of a commercial farming? The any farming with production and productivity is only for the profitable thing. Okay, for the marketing is called as a commercial farming. What is sustainable agriculture? The sustainable agriculture is one in which it should does not cause any harm to an a pollution, or it does not cause an a pollution, it does not harm to an environment, and it should be sustained to the series of generation is called sustainable agriculture. Therefore the input should be, it's not should be, it is commonly, it is very high in the commercial farming and is very low in sustainable agriculture. Okay, therefore, the commercial farming meaning is that where farmer producing crops on a large scale. Okay, it is only for the business type. Okay, it is a type of an agri-business where the farmer raise the crops and livestock to make money by selling them in the market. As we know, marginal farmers are raising crops to take care of their livelihood. Next, sustainable agriculture is also known as, okay, answer will be is D. That is all of the above. That is also called as natural farming, ecological farming, a permaculture. That is a major sustainable is goal. For example, we will tell no, we have 60 sustainable goals to be achieved. What is that goal? That thing, no, sustainable thing is that what? It should not cause an harm to an environment or to an human beings. It should be sustained to a series of generation is called a sustainable farming or sustainable agriculture. That is meeting society's present foods and textile needs without compromising the ability for the current or future generation to meet their needs. Therefore, it can be based on the understanding of an ecosystem services. Sugarcane, mustard, and potato. Just observe the symbol plus. Okay, it is not a slash, right? Or it maybe it is not an hyphen form. Is an example of which type of an intercropping. It will be multi-stored cropping. That is what is I already explained in our class. What is a multi-stored cropping? Therefore, growing of the plants in different heights is called your multi-stored cropping, right? Therefore, um, is also called as a multi-stored cropping or the multi-layer cropping and multi-tier cropping. It is one kind of an intercropping growing of the plants for the different heights in the same field at the same time is called as a multi-stored cropping. Why it is practiced? Because it is a what called there is equal distribution of the area or sunlight. We can use no, we can utilize the distance present in the plantation crops. Next is the potato slash mustard slash onion plus sugarcane is example of which type of an intercropping. The answer will be B. That is a companion cropping. I already explained what is companion cropping. That is whenever the crops which are grown in the pure stand should give an equal production and productivity when they were together is called as your companion cropping. Then, in which type of an intercropping, both the crops are component crops. Okay, what is a component crop? One should be component to one another. Okay, for example, the whole plots, no, if it is not this row, if it is not present instead of this, the nothing the nothing will profit or loss is called as your component crop, right? Therefore answer will be your B. There is a replacement series intercropping. Okay, because when we replace an one series of line with an another series, that the production and productivity will not vary much. Therefore, the replacement series in this system of an intercropping, both the crops are called a component crops, right? By sacrificing certain proportion of the population of an one component, and another component is introduced. For example, a growing of the maize plus soybean into 2 to 2 row ratio is nothing but your replacement cropping. Next, Otero cropping is mostly adopted in which state? Okay, answer will be your Madhya Pradesh. What is first is Uttara cropping? Uttara cropping is a sowing of a next crop seeds before the harvesting of the previous standing paddy crop in order to utilize the moisture efficiently under rain-fed ecosystem. Therefore, Uttara cropping is only adopted in the Rabi season. Okay, nothing but we have to be sow the plants before the harvesting of the previous paddy crop. Okay, for the maximum utilization of your time and your moisture efficiency. Next, which type of the cropping is also called as the overlapping cropping? Okay, that is year B. Answer will be year B. That is a relay cropping. Why the what is first of all is overlapping cropping? Overlapping cropping means it is also called as a relay cropping, and because of multiple cropping where one crop is seeded into a standing second crop well before harvesting of the second crop. That is the relay cropping. I already explained in the crop. Okay, before the harvesting of the one crop, sowing already be done. Okay, relay cropping may solve a number of conflicts such as insufficient use of your available resources, controversies in sowing time, fertilizer application, soil degradation, etc. Farming, which includes a crop production, livestock, poultry, fisheries, and beekeeping, etc., is also called as your. We all know that there's a mixed farming. That means we have to grow a various kinds, right? Often farming type here, animal husbandry also, rearing of apiary and dra- dairy farming and some cultivation also, etc. A system of growing same crop on the same land year after year is also called as your monocropping, right? It's also called your monocropping because we have to grow the paddy all the years or wheat all the years. Okay, this is called your monocropping, and they becomes and highly susceptible for the what called for the disease, right? Become they become more congenial. Therefore, we have to practice of growing a single crop every year in the same piece of land. Is called as your continuous. Is also called as your continuous corn. Next is ratoon cropping is an example of. This is answer is D. That is your sequence cropping and your a non-overlapping crop. What is a ratoon cropping? Ratoon cropping is a one in which we have to take a second crop or second harvest on the same plant after the first harvest is called as a ratoon cropping. The best example is banana, sugar cane. We can grow right after the harvest of the first harvest is also called as a ratoon cropping. Next is for successful intercropping, the difference in maturity of component the crop should be at least your 30 days. Scientific study of mixed cropping was first done by. Answer is your D, that is SS Bain, right? SS Bain was first person who introduced it studied the multiple cropping for the first time. Okay. Next is your the cropping system in which an yield of the both the crops are higher than their pure stand. It is called as your synergetic cropping. The name itself indicates we have to get the higher amount of the production when they grow together when compared to the when they grown in a pure stand. Okay, when they are present in the different plots is called as synergetic cropping. Who suggested the intercropping pattern of northern western part of India? The answer will be your. Okay, I will yes, this answer will be La Flitz. Okay, La Flitz was the first person who introduced the concept of cropping pattern in the northern western part of India. Next is the farming system used to develop the Mars planet according to Earth's environment is called as your terraforming. What is this terraforming? Because we already know that the climatic conditions and availability of the water, type of the soil, they're almost similar to an earth, right? Because we're practicing and very artificially the in the earth where the climate of the Mars is similar. Next is growing of a two or more crops in a quick succession on the same piece of land in farming year is called as your a sequence cropping. Okay, this is sequence cropping in which succession of the same crop year after year in the same piece of land. A sequential cropping is also known as that is the B. That is called non-overlapping cropping because the growing of and sowing of the is we have to take up the sowing of the second crop just after the harvesting of the first crop, right? That is your sequential cropping is also called as a non-overlapping cropping. Next, the growing of a two or more crops simultaneously during the part of the life of each cycle is called as your relay cropping, because we have to grow the crop. For example, your the best example is you're growing often a cereals with some pulses, because they will be simultaneously, they were one another contributing each other, is called as your relay cropping. Okay, next is a pair cropping is also is mostly dependent upon the mostly adopted in your BR also and West Bengal also. Therefore, what is para or Utara type of cropping? The para cropping is sowing often a second crop before the harvesting of the main crop, that is called the rice. That is a para or relay cropping is followed where the late planting along the duration. The rice harvested in the late with this high soil solution saturation and water is scarcity to save the second crop at the later stages, right? In India, the Joint Department of Agriculture, Revenue and Commerce was established during, okay, they will be established during the 1871, because I didn't give this explanation in the explanation column because they're just in one word because of that. Okay, next the separate Central Agriculture Department was established in, that is in 1881. Next, Indian Institute of Spice Research is located in Kozhikode, Kerala. Okay, the cropping pattern which is having the maximum area in India is the rice followed by pulses is a major the cropping pattern we are planning. Okay, these are the answers I have given in the separate page, and this is an explanation sheet. Okay, we can refer these explanation sheets after the listening to this class. Okay, thank you.